Around the same time last year, Pierre was sacked from his Red Bull seat for rookie driver Alexander Albon. Let's look at his very interesting journey through Formula 1. Making his debut at the 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix, Gasly replaced Kvyat for a number of races. He didn't show exceptional pace with a best finish of 13th at the Mexican Grand Prix, but it was good enough to secure a seat at Toro Rosso, with Carlos Sainz switching to Renault mid-season and Daniel Kvyat dropped from the Red Bull driver program. Immediately in the second race of his first year in Formula 1, Gasly qualified 6th on the grid, started 5th and finished 4th, impressing in just his second race. He would go on to have a pretty good, if not a bit unlucky first year. With P7 at Monaco, P6 at Hungary, he would end up with an impressive 29 points, dominating his teammate Brendan Hartley, who could only manage 4 points. He had proved that he was quick and had the potential of being at a top team.
I was born to move through life. Like, seriously move out, move up, and move fast.
When Daniel Ricciardo announced a surprise move to Renault for the 2019 season, a seat at Red Bull opened up. Now normally Gasly would have spent another year at the junior team before getting the call up to the Red Bull. But Red Bull had a junior driver who did well in his first year, so they threw him in the deep end and promoted Gasly after just 1 year at Toro Rosso. To fill his seat at Toro Rosso, they brought back Daniel Kvyat and called up Formula 2 second runner-up Alexander Albon. Red Bull boss Christian Horner hailed Gasly as an undoubted talent and described him as one of the most exciting drivers in motorsport. When his deal was confirmed, the general feeling within the paddock was that the Frenchman had proved himself worthy.
The least stressful break in terms of not having a decision to make, but you will be promoted to Red Bull next year.
Yeah, I'm just super excited about it. It's a massive step in my career, and now I need to stay focused on the coming races because we are talking about next year, but there are still 9 races to go with Toro Rosso, but for sure it's going to be a massive jump for me in my career.
Thank you. I imagine there are...
The 2019 season with Red Bull started off rocky for the Frenchman, having 2 crashes in pre-season testing, one of them a big one. The season kickoff didn't get better for Gasly. He finished 11th out of the points after he was not able to pass Daniel Kvyat in the sister Toro Rosso. It is important to understand that for a top team like Red Bull, any position below the top 6 is almost worthless. After a P8 and a P6 finish in Bahrain and China respectively, Gasly looked great in Baku, posting the fastest time in Q1. But he faced a penalty due to which he had to start from the pit lane. He put up a good recovery drive, improving from P20 to P5, but a suspension failure on lap 38 forced him to retire. Unfortunately, things didn't get better from there. More lackluster results followed until Gasly put up a good race for P4 in Silverstone. Looking impressive in Silverstone and with momentum behind him, he was all set to do good in Germany. But in FP1 in Germany, Gasly had a huge shunt and put it in the wall very hard. A crash can really affect the performance of a driver. He qualified a respective 4th for the race, but the race didn't go quite well for him. After a very poor start from Gasly, he dropped back to P8 and was overtaken by Alex Albon in the Toro Rosso. Near the end of the race, while he was tussling with Alexander Albon, he made contact with Albon and had a puncture, for which he had to retire. All the while this happened, throughout the season he was facing backlash from behind the scenes at Red Bull, with Helmut Marko saying he needs more discipline and Horner also criticizing his approach to racing, famously saying Gasly doesn't like to overtake. So multiple crashes, lackluster results and behind the scenes criticism, those were the only problems faced by Gasly? Well, no. The biggest rival of a Formula 1 driver is their teammate. Because both of the cars are same and the teams are same, therefore your results will be compared with them the most. The problem for Pierre in 2019 and Albon in 2020 was Max Verstappen, a young driver who is very good at what he does, so much so that he can hide the limitations of the car, so good that being his teammate can be very hard. I mean, that is one of the reasons why Danny Rick left Red Bull, and if a driver like him can find it difficult against Verstappen, it must be very hard for both Albon and Gasly. In Hungary, Gasly got lapped by his teammate Max Verstappen. He could only out-qualify his teammate on one occasion in Canada when Verstappen got a red flag in qualifying. His record versus Verstappen before the summer break made for bleak reading. In 12 races, he managed 63 points, which was just over a third of the Dutchman's total, who had captured 181 points. In races in which they both finished, only once did Gasly finish ahead. Yes, he scored points in 9 of those 12 races, but only twice did he manage to reach the double figures, 4th being his best finish, which is probably worthless to Red Bull. In the same period, Verstappen scored 2 wins and 3 podiums. Even with Gasly's disappointing form, Red Bull were near Ferrari in the Constructors' Championship. Just think what they could have achieved had he scored more heavily, more often. Red Bull thought so too, naturally. And after Gasly got lapped by his teammate in Hungary, that race was enough for Red Bull to pull the plug on Gasly. They replaced him mid-season with F1 rookie Alex Albon, starting from the Belgian Grand Prix. Gasly's year was made bad to worse. He was demoted to Toro Rosso starting from the Belgian Grand Prix. But the worst part was still yet to come.
Actually, De Vries saying that Huon is more interesting. Go on, oh, there's a big crash there. There's a car who lost it. Car has lost it on the way in. Oh no. Oh, that's a horrible accident. That is a horrible accident involving the Sauber Junior team. And that is not what anyone wanted to see. A horrible smash at the top of the hill in Radion.
Hubert was widely regarded as the 4th musketeer in a group of upcoming French-speaking young drivers comprising of Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, as they all climbed the racing ladder. The other 3 graduated to Formula 1, and as Antoine demonstrated similar skills, it appeared only a matter of time before he was ready to join them. Antoine had been one of Gasly's best friends and competitors. Unfortunately, he was taken away from us at the Belgian Grand Prix weekend. Losing a best friend and demoted, I can't even imagine what Gasly must have been going through. Before we move ahead, let me tell you what Gasly was going back to. The midfield in 2019 was closer than ever. Danny Rick and Hülkenberg in Renault, Norris and Sainz in McLaren, Kimi Raikkonen and Antonio Giovinazzi in the Alphas, his teammate Daniel Kvyat in the Toro Rosso, Perez and Stroll in the Racing Point. This was a jam-packed midfield, with drivers more experienced and arguably in better cars than Gasly. When Kvyat was dropped from Red Bull and demoted to Toro Rosso, he had to take a year out from the sport to get his head right. But Gasly bounced back and was straight away quick. At Spa, he outqualified his teammate and managed to finish 9th, behind his teammate but still in the points, and still a very strong performance for Gasly in what must have been a very difficult weekend. Throughout the season, Gasly managed to get the P8 in Singapore and Japan, a P9 in Mexico, all good performances considering the car he was in and the other cars and drivers in the midfield. He dominated teammate Kvyat and often found himself battling for that best of the rest position. You can say he was truly getting the most out of that car. The Toro Rosso car was better suited for Gasly's driving style. He shaked off the "he doesn't like to overtake" notion, finishing ahead of his qualifying position in almost every race with Toro Rosso. A string of good results for Gasly must have done a lot of good for his confidence. After a string of good results, the Brazilian Grand Prix was the race in which Gasly redeemed himself. He had a very good Saturday, outperforming his car to put it at P6, just behind the Red Bull of Alex Albon, the man who replaced him at Red Bull. Seeing the cars ahead of him, it was clear that overtaking them could be next to impossible. All he had to do was maintain position, which was a task in itself, with Kimi Raikkonen, both Hases, and the rest of the midfield just behind him. The race started and he was able to maintain his position for a long time, staying at that best of the rest place when the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc overtook him. He did a great job of maintaining his position. At lap 52, Valtteri Bottas's Mercedes engine said adios, which put Gasly at P6, triggering a safety car. At the restart, Gasly maintained position. Meanwhile, Alex Albon was performing a great race in that Red Bull car. He overtook Vettel and put himself in the 3rd position, hoping for his first podium in Formula 1. At lap 66, Gasly was just behind both Ferraris, sitting pretty at P6. In the battle for the 4th position, both Ferraris collided, leading to a double DNF for Ferrari and a safety car. Gasly was promoted to P4, just behind Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes and Alex Albon in the Red Bull. With 2 laps to go at lap 70, Albon was P3, Hamilton P2. Albon was P3 and tried to overtake Hamilton, but both cars touched wheels. Albon was left facing the wrong way, his first podium in Formula 1 spinning away like his car. In the chaos, Gasly was able to overtake both cars and suddenly found himself P2. But Lewis Hamilton was still facing the right way and was closing in on Gasly. A driver in just his second season in Formula 1 in a midfield car versus a 5-time world champion with 12 years of experience with the best car on the grid. Who will win? I don't know how he did it, but somehow Gasly was able to keep Hamilton behind for that final lap and beat him in a drag race to the finish line to come home in 2nd place, claiming his first podium in Formula 1. I have watched this 1,000 times and I still get goosebumps every time I watch this. Technically the first Red Bull 1-2 of the season, just 1.5 months after probably his lowest point, he was standing on that podium next to Max Verstappen. Max had won the race, but the name Gasly was on everyone's lips. On the cooldown lap, he proclaimed saying, "This is the best day of my life." Such are the highs and lows of Formula 1. The mental strength showed by Gasly in 2019 is unparalleled, something that even the best Formula 1 drivers have crumbled under. And he has done a great job of improving himself. Gasly redeemed himself, getting that podium. 2020 and beyond. In 2020, Pierre Gasly has done extremely well. He is probably the driver of the season for me. The midfield in 2020 is even more competitive, with a resurgent Racing Point, momentous McLaren, a faster Renault, plus the choice of Ferrari to join the midfield has also made it extremely competitive, even more than the last year. Gasly has been fighting for the best of the rest position at almost every race, even kicking out Sebastian Vettel a couple of times to join in Q3. He has dominated his teammate in qualifying, out-qualifying him in every race. In fact, Albon in a much faster Red Bull has been out-qualified by Gasly thrice. Gasly has accumulated 14 points in just 6 races in spite of 1 DNF and 2 races in which he was hurt by the strategy the team decided to take. In spite of that, he has finished best of the rest at 2 occasions and has been one of the unsung heroes of the 2020 season. And that, guys, was the rise, fall and redemption of Pierre Gasly. Hopefully he will get a seat in a better car someday. He is absolutely deserving of it. He'll always have a fan here in India. Hope you liked my first video, and I would like to request you to please subscribe to my channel. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.